Hello, I'm Elwyn.
I'm Amanda.
And this is our 2 cents on Occultea.
Occultea.
I would like to personally thank Ella Harrison, the Polish folk witch, and the red-headed witch for actually making this possible, for doing this. This is something actually I'm quite excited to do. And I don't get excited to do things much. I'm not that kind of person.
No.
But this, I feel that these kind of talks are long overdue.
So we've got the prompts here.
We've got the prompts.
Out of what you share on social media, how much of it is staged versus reality?
Right. Well, I think that there's a bit of both for most people here. For instance, when we're doing something, because obviously we work together, it's not just me. This is another reason why I want you here, because you are just as much as a part of the underground as I am.
Yeah.
And so when there is something that you think, like if I was doing a working or something and then you came in and was like, can you do that again? I think in the past I used to be like, no, because I finished doing it. Now it's more like, no, I'll just pretend I'm doing it again so you can get it. And there's this sense of what's authentic and what isn't. And oftentimes using something, you do have this rather controversial, I suppose, double-faced beast that develops over what it is. Because I'm not going to sit here in my underpants kind of eating a pot noodle while discussing in depth folk magic.
I think the difference though is in this instance that I think maybe they're talking more about, or we should be talking more about, how often the spells that we're doing and portraying, like how to do this spell, right, is actually real or fake. Because for us, it's always going to be fake. We're not going to show you how we're actually do a spell. Yeah.
I make
that spell is a pretend spell.
Yeah.
And it's not real.
It's a spell, but it's not a spell that I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
Like the spell you're seeing is what you mean.
Correct.
Because you didn't convey that well.
Sorry.
The spell that you're seeing is real, but me doing it at the time usually isn't.
Is there an element of censorship to that as well?
Yeah, I brought someone with me, because there is an element of censorship that I wanted to actually discuss here that I thought was important. When it comes to, there are 2 kinds of censorship. There is social media censorships. Social media censorship is obviously it changes as many times as I change socks. However, there is also community censorships. People are like across. I find that people as in like online watchers, like people who often participate in commenting and stuff like this, a majority of people are like piranha mixed with sheep. There's safety in numbers, and if one person takes a little bite out of you because they're not happy about something you've done, people smell blood in the water, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I'm offended because I'm standing next to them.
This has happened. Yeah, this has definitely happened specifically with gatekeeping. Spiritual practices from certain cultures.
Yeah.
But the problem with gatekeeping is you can't gatekeep if you're not from that culture. It is not your place.
Every single time it's been someone from who's not part of that culture.
Yeah, correct.
And this is the problem with censorship, when people take it into their own hands. Another thing I brought someone with me here. This man, I say, he is the devil. All right? He has many names. He's been there before anything else. He will be there long after anything else. And I am sick. I actually saw someone on TikTok who all of a sudden started telling people that we're here to teach you traditional magic, traditional witchcraft. This is the devil. He has many other names, but one of them is the devil. All right? He's not the devil in the same manner that you may think him to be in the Bible or as religion, like Christianity puts it, but he's the devil. All right? And there's this idea of censoring parts because people are uncomfortable with it. Oh, you're uncomfortable with it? That's why he's got a great big willy. He's supposed to make you uncomfortable. He's supposed to be oppressive. He's that force of nature. And it pisses me off that it's kind of washed out. It's like, no, that's wrong. It can't mean that, because it has to be this idea. I would love there to be a separation between what witchcraft is and what woo-woo is. Mm-hmm. Because if you like crystals, if you like playing with tarot cards, if you like reading about your birth charts and nothing other than that, and especially if you like to appropriate other cultures, then go and be woo-woo. All right? Just go and be woo-woo.
Witchcraft is for those who are oppressed.
Yeah. That's where it came from. Mm-hmm. Well, I say that's where it came from originally. It also, where its origins, before all that, came from a necessity to survive in general. Every community has a spiritual advisor, a leader, a healer. Usually all of those things, even politically, lawmakers, all such things were usually placed upon one person. As civilizations, as villages, as communities grew and grew, these people were then pushed aside. However, those people who were in need of them more, at the bottom line, still came to them. Couldn't afford a doctor, so you went to see the witch.
Have you ever encountered or heard of grifters in our community?
Yeah. Well, do you want to go with this one?
No, because I don't know what a grifter means.
Grifter is a
con artist.
Yeah.
Swindles people out of money and broth.
I just googled grifter. I just saw she typing grifter. Yeah. Do you not know what a grifter was?
Are we? So when we're referring to grifters, are we referring to the people that like pretend to be you, the like imposter Elwins?
That's really annoying. The imposter Elwins. There
are they
many
grifters?
Imposter people.
Are we just talking about
grifters.
The people that have large platforms that are grifters?
I think that one of the things that I think it was Ella brought up was about like the idea of the candles. Mm-hmm. And I know exactly what you mean. Like the amount of times I've seen people take dollar store candles, literally a dollar store candle, heat it up, throw some glitter in it, some stones and some herbs, and then sell it for like $50. Like, that's not justifiable. $20 maybe because of what you're doing, if you're actually doing it, but they're not doing it. One of the things that you begin to notice is people who know their onions and people who don't know their onions by what they say, but more about what they don't say. And people who usually talk loud, people who usually instigate these things, they're usually the ones who are the problem. I have to take a step away from social media because it begins to physically make me feel sick. It does for many people. But one of the things is the sheer, the avarice, I suppose, of it, where we can spend hours making a video aesthetically pleasing, informative, engaging, eye-catching, and we will make that video say about the fetch spirit or the fetch self, yes, and it may get 2,000 views.
Yeah, that's frustrating, isn't it?
And yet, all I need to do is get my phone, go over to my kitchen cupboard and get a handful of cinnamon and go up to my door and go, if you blow cinnamon through your door, good fortune will come to you. And then watch them all roll in. Watch yourself get 50,000 views. Like, it's not me being bitter in that way. It's me just thinking like, what do people actually want? Because witchcraft requires work. And it seems like a lot of people who want to call themselves witches, a lot of people who want to follow witchcraft aren't prepared to do work. Can you just do it for me? Can you just do the work and then tell me how to do it? And
it's like, kind of like lately I've been seeing a lot of discussion, and I know Marshall, Witch of Southern Light, has brought this up as well, of people being upset by saying, okay, go Google it, go do the research. Yeah. And then people getting upset by that, like, well, you should share your time and knowledge on this subject matter. It's like, no, I shouldn't. No.
When I was young, we had to go to the library.
The library. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Yeah. No, but you did. You had to go to the library.
It's crazy because the witchcraft boom has seriously happened in the last 10 years because of internet, because we can all talk to each other. But that's also why there's so much appropriation. The problem. There's so much information, and I'm sure a new beginner witch is feeling very overwhelmed.
Yes.
We understand that. Okay. But we cannot all be here to hold your hand because we are all going through it as well. I'm a new beginner witch. He is not. I get it. There's not time in my day. I'm at the basics still. There's not enough time in the day to be studying everything that there is to study on magic. But I'm not reaching out to him at every step of my practice and being like, well, can you explain this to me? Because that's not his place to explain to me to how to do my practice, because what he is doing is not what I would do in my practice.
If people become reliant on you, and I'm not a fucking Ask Jeeves. Is that still a thing?
No, I don't think people know what Ask Jesus. It's probably dead with MapQuest. Fucking Ask Jeeves.
All right then. We should make a new one called it Ask Twombly.
Ask Twombly.
That's our imaginary butler. We call him Twombly.
I wish he was real.
Yeah, me too. He has a curly moustache and wears white gloves. Anyways, it's a long thing. Anyways, but no, I agree with you.
It's the information download is now. Everything is happening now. You can get anything you want now. And it's the perception. I think people are lacking that intuition to know I can do this myself, in the confidence.
In witchcraft, especially the kind of witchcraft that many of us are involved in, which is forms of traditional and folk magic, it's not nice. It can be uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable a bit, you're not doing it right. You have to be pushing those boundaries and asking the questions of yourself that perhaps make you feel a little bit because that's the point. If you're comfortable, then you're lazy and you don't want to get out of your comfort zone. That's it. So this is when we come to this point that witchcraft isn't necessarily for everyone. Mm-hmm. Okay? That doesn't mean I'm saying you can and you can't.
How does a large following impact the perception of the creator? Does this immediately make them an expert, or are there other assumptions as to why they may have a large following? No. If I see you have a large following, I immediately question, actually. It's the opposite now because I'm so jaded.
No, I never really noticed that, to be honest. What I do notice is what I'll say from my perspective is when you start to have a large following, you're seen less of a person and more as a public service.
Yeah, that's fair. What would my practice look like without the social media influence of other creators?
I think it would look more or less the same, to be honest with you. I think there are like-minded people, and I think it doesn't matter where they come from or how they find what we consider to be our folk practice in our witchcraft. But I love it because we all have similarities within our craft. And I think what it's done is it's made me feel less alone. Because, as I said, the way that I was raised did feel alone. And then when I moved away and away from my aunt, and now that she's passed, it does feel alone. Because these are the people you live with, these were family, and these were teachers. And then you realise how much that part of your life you actually share with just a few people. And so now it's really nice to actually be able to see other people and to share those things with other people, and you recognize similarities.
How do you maintain the balance of authenticity in content creation?
I honestly...
I think your authenticity comes through because you're not afraid to poke jokes at yourself.
I poke jokes at myself all the time.
I think that's very authentic. Because I think you get these videos and they become so about the aesthetic. And it becomes so wrapped up in itself.
And I see people when they have a love of their witchcraft, and you tell, and every single person I said this to, they understand when it says, I wouldn't know what it would be like not to do witchcraft. And they know what I mean. It's part of you. You couldn't stop doing it. You couldn't give it up. And it shows when these content creators and these creators, that you see them and you know who they are, because it shows that they love and they put thought and effort into things. And it's not for following, it's to share this is me, this is an expression, because that's what your craft is. Your craft is an expression. And so by doing it and putting it out there online is also just another means of expression.
Do I consider online communities as equally valid to in-person communities? I think they both have their separate space and uses.
I think that they're more important.
I think that that is so wonderful and beautiful about social media and online is that it does bring together people who want to find each other. Like I've made so many friends from these communities that we've also met in person.
Yeah, to be honest,
I think they're valid.
Many of the people we've met, many of the people we still know, they're like family. They're beautiful. A lot of people on our thing, on our media,
on our Discord,
they're beautiful people.
Yeah,
and they are wonderful.
And even content creators.
Yeah, truly. But I do think that people are their true selves online. They have no fear of repercussions. They say what they mean.
Yeah.
And so when someone is ugly, their ugly shows quickly.
That's true.
Okay. Whereas if you are in a coven or there is a community that meet up or something, that ugly doesn't always show.
Yeah, it's easier to hide.
It spreads like a cancer. It does the damage. Whereas on social media, that ugly shows very quickly on usually.
Right.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, people seem to like the ugly sometimes. There are some creators who literally have got big because they're ugly shows.
What are some of the dangers of the current phenomenon of capitalizing off witchcraft community? Have I been personally affected by this, or have I witnessed someone else be affected?
Yes. I mean, as we said, the scammers.
There
must be 30 different people who say they're me.
At one given day.
Yeah. And it's not just me. It's plenty of people. You don't even have to be like one person. They don't do readings. They're not a witch. They're just a pagan. They're a pagan. And they occasionally post photos or videos of themselves up doing things. And I even saw them just simply say, if you get something from me offering you a reading, I've never done readings in my life. Like, it's ridiculous. But once again, it's anything to do with spirituality, stuff like this. There is a target, this market.
I think, can we just talk on that for a sec? The reason I think some people get scammed in these situations is because you're coming to witchcraft and spirituality for an answer, for comfort, where you haven't felt comfort. Like you have felt closed off and your intuition is asking for answers and you're so desperate for that, instead of feeling sensitive and trying to figure out who you're trying to get answers from. You're just so desperate for the answers that you don't look any further than that. And I do think that's something we need to make all of our followers more aware of.
Where do you turn to when you need answers?
You should turn inward.
No. You turn to me. No.
Oh, shit. Fuck off.
I'm joking. No, but what I
Please
mean
don't.
Is... It was a joke. No. Why? No. What I mean is that who do you turn to when you need answers? Yeah, you turn to someone. Everyone turns to someone. Okay, and sometimes in life that person's not there, or there's something that you don't know where to go.
Yeah. And
there is a lot of times, where especially when it comes to readings,
yeah,
people will seek out a reader. All right.
Yeah.
And the problem is, just like the problem with witches online, there are good readers and there are really bad readers.
Mm.
And it's a matter of sometimes people don't even care.
Mm-mm.
People don't even care if it's a good reader or a bad reader. They just want someone to tell them it's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself a decent reader because I often tell people it's not going to be all right.
That's the kind of reader you want.
But I do, though, don't I?
No, you do.
I honestly, I found that
just being honest
is the best way, because it's a hard medicine, but it's a medicine.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people don't like that. They're looking for something else. They're looking for a comfort, and unfortunately people, they monopolize on it. It's very bad. It's very bad.
Should there be paywalled communities and online courses? Yes.
Yeah, well, as I said, now here's the thing. There should be, because if you want to learn something, if you want to be part of something, if the gates are open completely and anyone can walk in whenever they like, then you're going to have people walking in who are not going to take it serious enough to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And what those people do. Now, imagine you have a zoo. Imagine you have a zoo that you didn't have to pay to get into. Right?
People would treat it like shit.
People would not only treat it like shit, all the youth would go there and start throwing tin cans at the gorillas and shit.
Yeah.
And think, because it's just like, well, there's no appreciation for it.
Yeah.
When you pay for something, you have this sense of, I need to get something out of it.
Yeah, it's transactional.
It's a transactional thing, and I think that's important.
Yes, I think you need to be very careful what you're joining that's free.
Yeah, agreed.
There should be.
It doesn't mean, I'm not saying that hang on a minute, that doesn't mean that if it's free, it's bad.
No.
Okay.
You're just putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, you're putting yourself at a sense of a risk, and you don't know particularly if people are there for the right reason.
How does one ensure the authenticity of courses, workshop memberships as a financial investment?
You can't. I've thought about this one, and you can't do it. The only thing is you have. This sounds horrible, but if you are looking to become a witch, if you're looking to study witchcraft, right, you will have an aptitude. You will have cunning. You will have an intuition. And so therefore, you may go to a course and be like, okay, great, this is it. And then at the very beginning of the course, be like, no, this isn't right. Listen to it. Because that's you. That's what you're trying to cultivate. What it comes down to is you have to use your own discernment, really. And I think the best way that we do that is we all communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And another reason why we want to be seen, whether or not it's for business purposes as well, if you are a creator, you want to be seen so that you are a trusted face. You want to put everything you have into what you create and make sure that it's correct, it is accurate, and you also show when you're being stupid or you do something wrong.
How can we as a community come together with more constructive criticism without it seeming shady and passive aggressive? Don't come into the comment section.
No, do come into
don't come into the comment section. Like, for example, if we posted a video and you felt like it had misinformation, you should send us a DM and explain your sources and say, this is why I believe this to be wrong. And it's like, approaching people with anger is not going to get the desired response.
That's oftentimes they're not right, to be honest, oftentimes. And they are just picking a fight.
Yeah, but that's why it should be a private conversation.
They are usually offending on someone else's behalf. Which
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, but they are.
But we're saying us as a community.
Yeah.
So, example, we do something, we post a video, and it's on...
I just noticed our cups match our clothes.
It is. Isn't it cute? Like, for example, we post something about Polish witchcraft, and then Joanna is like, baby girl, that is not even close to being right. What are you talking about? I would appreciate that comment coming from them in a DM saying, I know exactly what this is because this is my field of knowledge.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm so sorry.
And then we would redact it or edit it.
Or edit it to be like, oh, I got this wrong and so and so has told me otherwise now and I'm very grateful.
That happened last year when we were in Edinburgh And there was something about one of the pictures I posted wasn't of the actual. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It wasn't of the actual tomb because our tour guide got it wrong.
Yes. I remember that.
We posted a story about it. And so we redacted that.
Yeah.
And that was easy as pie.
It's easy. Like,
Just don't take yourself so seriously or you're going to get really offended. Where would I like to be held and supported more in this community?
Here, like this.
Like a baby.
Like a baby.
Oh,
I'd like to be held like a baby. Yeah.
I would love to see, as a woman, as a female creator, more support for male creators and people of color.
I'm not used to support.
Because it's like, it feels a bit targeted. Lately, when you've posted videos, we get a few comments that are like, you can't be a witch, you're a man.
That one is particularly annoying.
God, it's so overdone. Or you're a warlock. You're a wizard, not a witch. Idiot. Don't you know you have a penis? It's like, whoa.
Is that what that is? Wow.
You can't be a witch. And
I've been using it to lure cats around. Paint it like a mouth.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I would love for that to be more of our focus going into 2024 is using our platforms to support smaller witch creators.
Again? To held and support.
Yeah. Where would you like to be supported more in the community?
I'm not being funny, but I've never really been supported within the community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very quiet. I'm quite reserved about things. I just get on with what I'm doing. Because everyone fights all the time in the witch community. There's always politics, and I'm too fucking old. And I know that many creators are, not all, but many of them are younger than me. I said me, not us. And
I'm sweating.
I want to help you fight your battles, but I've fought my own already.
We're tired.
I'm tired, And so therefore, I've come to that point where some things you can change, some things you can't. People are going to stand in their own way. And so along those lines, I would love to see more support from people who just get attacked by the sheep, shall we say. Because that's this big ball of people who are basically just a bit witchy, but don't really care about insulting other people's, their practices, their
the
religions.
Accuracies of it.
And they're just a bit witchy, and but they have numbers on their side. And because they have numbers on their side, we're shouted down. And yet when we do something, if we do something, and they don't like it, different story. It's changing. Folk practice and traditional forms of magic and witchcraft are on the rise. I feel like Lord of the Rings.
You do.
The time of the orc is now. The time of Wicca is over. But it is, and so we are growing in number.
Who are some community members you look up to as a reliable resource? Roger J. Horn.
I do like Roger Horn, and of course, Gemma Gary.
Gemma Gary.
I love Gemma Gary. He was the Black Toad. And it was, as I'm reading it, there were similarities. Well, my aunt used to say that. And remember, as I said, I was very much not, we didn't know that other people or practices existed outside of us in that way. And so it felt, once again, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. And that was a big thing for me. It's influenced me, but it's not going to influence me to copy them. It's going to influence me to do more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, not just ancestrally or generationally, that's what other creators do as well. That's what I hope I do for people. That's what my goal is. My goal is not to write a recipe book or to do what I do. My goal, genuinely, is to inspire you to come up with spells, rituals, things that can help you, to inspire you to dig deeper and find the way that works for you to practice your witchcraft.
Yeah, to better yourself.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts on that?
I think I might have beans for dinner.
I hope everything we said makes sense, and I hope that and I hope that it comes from a receiving end of respect and love, that you know that we're just trying to do our best here. And
it's difficult because it's not like a lot of other avenues of expertise. I use that word hesitantly, but you know what I mean, or loosely, should I say. And so therefore,
it's hard to verify people.
It is hard. It is hard to verify people, and it's a fucking minefield out there.
It is.
It really is, and there's sharks, and there's other things, big squids. You get the idea, and so it is difficult. It is difficult, but I think one of the things is like, that's what I was wanting to say. Is one of the things that I get a lot is people say, "I like your set." You remember that people will say that, "I like your set." This isn't a set. This is my office. This is literally my decor. All these things that look whimsical actually all have a practical use.
Yeah.
Apart from that.
That snake plant's just there.
Well, his name's Jeremy, and he's useless. He is the most useless plant I own. Me and him have a very strenuous relationship. But yeah, apart from that, everything has a sense of a use in some way. And so I think people mistake the witch aesthetic sometimes for just whimsical.
We love you.
Love you.
Shoot your questions down below. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.